evening, UWA Elite Army. My name is Eric Corvis, and thank you for once again joining me as I continue my interview series where I sit down with UWA Elite personalities from the past and the present. My guest today is somebody who's a little bit more from the past, one of the first ever UWA Elite champions, one half of the second longest reigning tag team champions of all time, and the youngest inductee into the UWA Elite Hall of Fame, Vin Grayson. Thank you so much for joining me, man. It's been a while.
Yeah, it has been, definitely.
So the last time the fans saw you in a UWA Elite ring was when you were getting inducted into the Hall of Fame by Arcadia. A lot of fans at home might not know, Arcadia and you are actually related.
Yeah, we are. It was a really funny story about how that happened. It was, I just showed up to UWA, young superstar, started talking to some of the older guys, and lo and behold, we found out that we have a relationship through one of my cousins is one of his cousins, and it was just a really weird coincidence, but he's definitely family.
Yes, so with that being the last time the UWA Elite fans saw you, what have you been up to? How have you been keeping busy since you took a step back from the wrestling world?
Well, definitely my health has been such an important thing for me, and I've been really focused on, there's different medicines and everything coming out, as you know, but I've actually been working on a little movie career, kind of doing a little short films here and there, trying to build up a little bit of an acting repertoire. Something that I did when I was a lot younger. I was on stage when I was 8 years old, so just building up a little movie career, which has been pretty cool, actually.
That's awesome. Not a difficult transition from the wrestling world, like portraying characters and such. And you have mentioned medications and such for the newer UWA Elite fans. Vin Grayson, cystic fibrosis. Would you like to maybe shed some light for people who don't quite know the history of cystic fibrosis or what it's like to live with it?
Yeah, cystic fibrosis is it's a genetic disease where it affects your lungs and your digestive system, and basically, I'm not going to get too technical, but it's doesn't have a cure. It's incurable, and it's one of those diseases out there that really people don't have a very long lifespan.
Yeah.
But with the medicine and everything that's coming out, it is really just taking another step forward. It takes a step forward, I think, every week. I see something new coming out, and my doctors try to get me on a new study or a new drug or some type of progression to make my life simpler and easier. Like we just came out with a new drug last year. It's called Orkambi.
Okay.
And it's just like 2 little pills I take in the morning and night. There's actually different forms of cystic fibrosis. There's people who have the 1 genetic mutation and people who have 2. I have 2.
Okay.
So that specific drug is only for that type of person who has the 2 mutations of the genetic code. And it's crazy, but it really hasn't affected my life too much. Obviously with UWA and everything, it was just time to take a step back and really just focus on my health. I was missing a lot of shows. I was in and out of the hospital a couple times, and it was pretty brutal. But everything's looking great now. New drugs, everything. And it's really interesting life to live. But I feel like it's made me a stronger person.
Definitely. I feel that you, being a roster member of the UWA Elite, really opened up a lot of fans' eyes and locker room members' eyes to the disease who may not have been familiar with it. Before the Hall of Fame, I don't even know if I knew that you had cystic fibrosis.
Yeah,
You weren't like, oh, well, I have cystic. You kind of you want to do your own thing. You didn't want to get looked at differently because you had that type of disease. And like I said, one of the first ever UWA Elite champions, tag team champion, Hall of Famer, all battling cystic fibrosis, and nobody even knew.
Yeah, no, it's not something that I really like to share. I don't like people looking at me differently.
Exactly.
It says I don't need the pity party. I'm just like everybody else.
So just like everybody else in the locker room, the fans, and everything like that. Now, your biggest claim to fame in the UWA Elite, or at least where I feel that you really made your mark, is as one half of Swag Mean with Robbie Roller. At the time, the most dominant tag team in the UWA Elite. Is Robbie Roller somebody that you still stay in contact with? Are you guys still friends?
Yeah, absolutely. Rob's a brother, and we, for the better part of 2 years, me and Rob were just everywhere together, did everything together. We just meshed, and it was something where we were actually both feuding over the UWA Elite title at the time, trying to get a shot at Sean after I lost it, and Ultimate Turmoil and everything. And it was a weird combination because we were left out of the Crossroads tournament that year, and David gave us an opportunity to team up and go after the tag team titles. And a couple matches in, all of a sudden we're tag team champions, and it was just it took off from there. It was really an interesting part of my life. Well, let alone my career, my life. It was a really interesting part to have somebody that you connect with like that. And Rob's a brother. I keep in touch with him. I always wonder what he's up to. And he's the best.
Now, with you guys being one of the first real true tag teams to come from the UWA Elite when we first really started, the first couple of years, to what the tag team division has become now. Teams like the Bro Team Pack, the Rhodes, Kentucky Bred, the tag team division has evolved so much. And I know that you've been keeping track at home, but you were actually at Last Breath.
Yes, I was.
It was your first live show for a while. What did you think about the evolution of UWA Elite?
I mean, the Trios Championship was one thing that I thought was the greatest innovation by UWA Elite to really get that out there. And because there were so many, we had a bunch of people team up with us. We had TJ Blade with Swag Mean and stuff. There was different types of combinations we had with trios, and I thought that, hey man, that might be a good idea. Down the line, if they can get some more trios, that it could be a good idea. And it was awesome to see that implemented. And I thought that really shook everything up. And the fact that the tag team champions and the trios champions are the same people makes it even crazier. But the tag team division really is really taken off, and sometimes like me and Rob, there's people that you don't think are gonna mesh together, and they do. Power guns, like what? I never would have thought that one.
And it's easily one of our most popular tag teams, and they've gone out and made quite a career for themselves in film, just as you were attempting to do as well, or attempting to do. Now, as a UWA Elite Hall of Famer, I already asked Big Dan this when I sat down with him. I asked Cypress when I sat down with him. As a member of the UWA Elite Hall of Fame, Dynamite Davis, our most recent inductee. Terrible circumstances, but how do you feel about welcoming Dynamite Davis into the UWA Elite Hall of Fame and setting the standard on January 14th?
Mike was one of those people that teamed with me and Rob eventually, the swag or not kind of thing. He was the best, and not just a great person, but in the ring, he let it all out there. Every single match, every single time he was out there, whether he was managing or anything, he gave it everything he had. And that's someone that the UWA Elite, we all embody that every single time we go out there. But Mike was just a very special person when it came to that. And, let alone, the circumstances and everything, his career alone, just all the accolades and the awards and everything, his career alone deserved the UWA Elite Hall of Fame, eventually down the line. And I know everybody's been saying that, but eventually he would have got in. It was just only a matter of time, and it's terrible that it happens now, but at the same time, there's no one more deserving than Mike Davis.
Yeah, definitely. And in the future, like UWA Elite Hall of Fame, we have inductions every year. After taking a step back and kind of seeing how the landscape of UWA Elite has changed, who could you see that's a member of UWA Elite now going into the Hall of Fame down the line?
Well, I know we got Sean out of the way, and we got and Kyle, and those are two great people. I think personally, John Bowes, man. That guy is unbelievable. And someone who I wrestled a lot. You know, John Bowes is one of those guys that, just like I said, every single time out there, he's giving it everything he has. And he loves UWA Elite more than anybody that I could really think of. And he really just puts everything he can into everything that he does for this company. And someone like that, I definitely would think that John would be, he's going to be a Hall of Famer.
Yeah, I'm sure that there's tons of people in the UWA Elite Army that would agree with that statement as well. Even though Bowes is one of our top bad guys, if you will, for some reason people still admire him and flock to him as a superstar. Now, we have future Hall of Famers, we have Hall of Famers, but we also have had an influx of brand new faces into the UWA Elite in the past few years. Checking out our product from the outside looking in, who are some of the newer faces that you've seen in UWA Elite this past year that you really see big things in their future?
Specifically, going to Middlesex County Fair, Jordan Oliver and Kid Christian.
Yeah.
Those two kids, they remind me of myself. You know what I mean? It's super young, just trying to get their name out there, trying to do big things, trying to, mix it up with some of the biggest names that we have. And, I feel like they hold their own out there. And they're not the biggest guys, but and they're a little flashy, but at the same time, they remind me of myself. Yeah. I wasn't too different from them when I was starting out. And, look where I went. Just with a little opportunity, a little help, a little guidance.
How old were you when you started in UWA Elite?
I was 16, champion at 17.
Wow.
And that was, I think Kid Christian's 16. Is he 16?
I believe he's 16 and Jordan Oliver's 17. I
believe. They're young guys, and those are two guys I didn't get the chance. They weren't at Last Breath. I didn't get the chance to meet them, but they really catch my eye, and those are two guys that I would love to meet and just talk. Maybe shed a little knowledge, some things that I've learned, especially as a smaller guy in the ring in UWA Elite.
Yeah, and now we talked about Last Breath, but now we have Setting the Standard coming up. Tons of huge matches, but one thing specifically, Robbie Roller making his return to Setting the Standard in a 15-man battle royal for a shot at the I Championship. Now, Robbie Roller we see in the battle royal. Do you plan on being at Setting the Standard?
I'm definitely gonna be there. I talked to Dave Swan, and he was like more than welcome to come on and check it out. I don't know what kind of role or anything I'll get. I'm just happy to be a fan.
Is that something that you see in your future, possibly getting back in the ring, or is that something you haven't really fooled around with yet?
I'm not gonna rule anything out. I'll put it that way. It hasn't really been a thought. I came to Last Breath to kind of just catch up with the guys and see what everybody's doing. Obviously watching it online and everything is a completely different aspect than watching it live. Yeah. Especially the fact that you get to see it first. You get to see it happen first.
You don't have to wait a couple of weeks for it.
Exactly. So I definitely not going to rule anything out, but I'm just happy to be a fan right now.
Now, Setting the Standard, looking at the card, is there anything specifically on Setting the Standard that you're the most excited to see live?
Ultimate Turmoil match, without a doubt. Those guys, I think I've been in the ring with every single one of them, and they, like I said, they all put it all out there. And coming off of Last Breath, where I thought definitely the most complete show in UWA Elite history, coming off of Last Breath, you got those guys going into that match.
Yeah.
And that's going to be, I think, the showstopper of the card.
Easily one of the most stacked Ultimate Turmoils that UWA Elite has ever presented. Easily one of the most stacked cards that UWA Elite has ever presented. Setting the Standard live January 14th from the Holy Trinity Church in South River, New Jersey. Doors will open at 5:30. Dynamite Davis's Hall of Fame induction at 6 o'clock. And Setting the Standard at 6:30. I'll be there calling the action. Vin Grayson will be there checking out the action. make sure to go up, say hi to him. Come up and say hi to me. But be there. Setting the Standard will sell out, so don't wait. Go to UWAElite.com to get your tickets today. Vin, thank you so much for joining me. It was an absolute pleasure.
Absolutely.
I would love to see you in the ring again.
Hey, man.
Fingers crossed.
Who knows what 2017 holds? Man?
Fingers crossed. I'll see you at Setting the Standard, and more importantly, we'll see you at Setting the Standard.